All right, so maybe we have three parts to Monday. I'll see if I have my storage space issue figured out. Front, top, and side, front, top, side, that's the layout that we want. We want them all in projection, and there's a piece in the book I want to show you that might help you understand that. So I'm going to flip you around. All right, for my book, this is page 147. And they kind of give you a nice visual on, how to rotate objects in your head. Physically, if you actually have an object, that works pretty well, but most of the time we don't to get these views that we're looking for. So this is the view looking straight, straight at the object and generating this front view. Most objects cannot be defined by just one view. It just can't happen. They're not descriptive enough, right? We can't see this fillet. We can see this round curve, but we can't really see much depth to this object just from this one view. Usually it takes three views to figure that out. And in the three views, it could take some hidden geometry, right? And the combination of all three views to pick up the feel of this object. These are the projections, front, top, and side, right? And we can see how he's holding this, he or she is holding this object and rotating it to get these different projections, okay? So that's a pretty good graphic. The objects that we're going to work with are on the page 160 for me, right? Page 160, and you're going to do 1 and 3. 1 and 3. And here's those tick marks that I talked about in the part 2 video. That's how you size these objects. There are full tick marks along here, and there are half tick marks along here. So again, I can set a kind of a scale to this by saying each tick mark is equal to 2 inches or each tick mark is equal to 10 inches, right? It makes the thing larger and smaller. So that's how we use those things, so we don't have to have the physical object in front of us and we don't have to measure. It's only so accurate, I know that, I fully understand that, but at the same time, it is accurate enough because we're just hand sketching. So keep those views in projection. Here's an example of what you're going to do. These are hand sketches, supposedly, right? And you can see that they're using their grids and their spacing perfectly, but this projects to here, right? All of these are in projection of each other. So if I just take a straight edge and go across the bottom of the circle, I see it develops a hidden line over here. And the straight edge going across the top of the circle creates a hidden line over here, right? This geometry right here projects up to create that geometry. This angle projects down to create these lines. So you develop these three views, not one view at a time, but kind of in relationship with each other to get the front, top, and side. This is what we're looking for on your homework exercises. Another idea that has been used in the past is called the glass box concept. So, we can look at it like this, right? Where you actually put a physical glass box around an object and then try to develop those front view, side view, and top view. Here you can see it actually developing a left side view and a bottom view. Those are also views. They're not the primary views. The primary are front, right side, and top. Okay? And as you put an object in the glass box, then you start to unfold the glass box to develop the views. Again, we're focused on front, right side, and top. okay? But you can see how they end up in projection. You don't have to include these projection lines, but you can see how the geometries of the bottom project over to the bottom and the top project over to the top to create these different views. When we do this, we can create true size and true length lines, and also lines that are foreshortened or longer than they should be. So here's the top example. They talk about looking at the right side view. This is going to be the true length or true size. So when we get to dimensioning, we can only dimension true length objects. We cannot dimension things that are not true length. So that's a good example of a true length edge. This would be true length. The whole rectangle would be true length on this side view, right? This, from the front view, that is a true length line that gets pulled off of this front view. And actually all these lines would be, right? And then here we see, if we look at the right side view and we pull this angled line onto the right side, it becomes much shorter than it really is in true life. So that's called foreshortened, or just not true size and true shape. We could not dimension that geometry, right? You can see how that's pulled off. All right, so that's super important. Here's another just example of pulling off your right side view and your top view. So be very careful with doing this, and that you just pull the geometry off that you can literally see, and not geometry that you cannot see. If you cannot see it, it becomes a hidden line in that view. And here's just another example of a front top side. This is perfect except for they don't have their views labeled. This should be labeled front view, this should be labeled top view, and this should be labeled right side view. But they do have all the geometries in projection of each other. And here you can see this is some kind of counterbore up in here, a larger circle, and then we also see the hole coming through in this top view, right? But we don't see these edges here because they're underneath this shoulder, as we can see over here. So it takes all three views a lot of times to put this in your head correctly. All right. So I hope that helps. I think I have my storage issue solved, because this seems to be going just fine. And I probably could keep rambling, but I don't think I need to. I think we have today pretty much solved. Your exercise is up. In my book, it's on page 160. And as soon as I learn what page it is in, I think 8th edition, this is the 7th edition. Yeah, I think this is the 7th edition, yep. So when I learn what page it's on in the 8th edition, I will get that to you. All right, have a good week and talk to you on Wednesday.